Damn, what can I say except end of an era? Over 10 years of audio releases. Let's finish with a bang. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. TARDIS and today we're going over the final Big Finish Torchwood monthly release, Torchwood Farewell by Joseph Lidster and starring Gareth David Lloyd as Ianto Jones, which is essentially the finale of the past 10 years of monthly releases from Big Finish. This is essentially the end of the Torchwood monthly range, but not the end of Torchwood properly on Big Finish. We'll get to that a little bit later. Written by one of the regulars of the Torchwood range, Joseph Lidster, Torchwood Farewell is set between the events of Series 2 of Torchwood and Children of Earth. Ianto Jones is going to visit an old friend, Tommy Pierce, played by Timothy Benting, and this is a character who's actually been a regular in the Torchwood range from the Torchwood 1 series. Tommy was the head of alien acquisition, but of course it all went crumbling and burning down during the events of the Doctor Who Series 2 finale, Doomsday, where Torchwood 1 was destroyed. However, it turns out that Tommy is alive and well. Well, he is alive, but he is slowly dying, and he is not well, both mentally or physically. He's currently living off-grid in the Yorkshire village of Wetwang, and of course, it's Torchwood, they find Wetwang very funny, and Ianto is checking up on him because Tommy is hiding and hoarding many alien items and pieces of alien tech in his small house, including but not limited to a crinoid pod in the freezer. But Tommy is hiding something else in his cellar, something very secret and ominous, and it's a Cyberman. It's on the cover. He's hiding a Cyberman in the basement, and Ianto Jones, of all people, knows to not hide Cybermen in the basement in case they turn sexy and attack you. And this Cyberman in the cellar is going to come between Ianto and Tommy's friendship, and it's all going to come full circle from Ianto's very first days working at Torchwood to his imminent end.
Preston Faith, alive, lives in France. I try not to hold it against him.
Wait, what are you saying?
Sarah Murphy, Stephen Hines, Boston Taylor, they're alive. They escaped Canary Wharf, and they did what I did. They went into hiding.
Why?
Because nobody ever really leaves Torchwood unless it's in a body bag. That day was hell. There was 6 of us, just by chance. 6 of us. It got us out. It gave us our lives back.
Okay. But why are you telling me this now?
We all vowed never to tell any member of Torchwood that we're alive. I've broken 5 confidences in telling you. I'm risking 5 lives in telling you. So, this is me saying, I trust you. You're my pal. And what I'm about to show you, I'm showing it to a pal, not to a member of Torchwood.
Understood. So, Tommy, what is down there?
The release of Torchwood Farewell, I think, is, unwittingly, very suitably timed. I mean, this was released a couple of weeks before the announcement that Doctor Who was going to be put out to competitive tender. So, basically, this era of the revived series that started in 2005 has come to an end now. And Farewell is, of course, the end of the Torchwood monthly range, but it is also, in many ways, just the end, thematically, of the past 20 years of the Doctor Who TV universe, because there's many references in Farewell to the very first invasion that started it all in 2005, and that was the Nestene Consciousness invasion. Now, many of these threads have been picked up on in the past in the Torchwood 1 range, including the death of the mayor of Cardiff during that invasion, and the whole cover-up operation from Torchwood 1 that ensued, but Farewell is still able to utilise these elements to basically pay tribute to the past 20 years of television history. As we go back to Ianto's very first day in Torchwood, which was shortly after the events of that Nestene Consciousness invasion. And while Farewell is not my introduction to Tommy as a character, he was a supporting character in the Torchwood Tube Strike story from a couple of years ago, I don't think you need any of that prerequisite from Torchwood 1, from Tube Strike. This is just an old friend of Ianto from Torchwood 1 who survived the Battle of Canary Wharf and has gone off-grid. The story is standalone enough that you don't need any of that prerequisite prerequisite. In order to enjoy Torchwood Farewell, you just need an appreciation of Torchwood just and its place in the Doctor Who universe, including but not limited to the institution's massive body count. And I'm not talking about, get your minds out the gutter, I'm talking about the list of the dead who have worked at Torchwood, and Ianto eventually does become one of the casualties of Torchwood. There's a very nice reference towards the end of the story that ties into the start of Children of Earth, which means that Farewell takes place basically immediately before the story that would ultimately be Ianto's death. So there is a degree of morbidity to the proceedings, but I think what makes Farewell such a affecting finale to this range, as well as just a really strong standalone story, is just two characters conflicting over their philosophies on what love and life are, is that Farewell is just a great capper to what has been the beating heart of the Torchwood monthly range, and that has been predominantly Ianto. I think that Ianto as a character has massively benefited from the expanded medium of Big Finish and the audio adventures to flesh out the character and allow Gareth David Lloyd to have a lot of authorship over the character. That Tube Strike story that I mentioned earlier was penned by Gareth David Lloyd. He's very invested in this range. And what we get in Torchwood Farewell is that every so often Ianto calls Jack to let him know how he's getting on and to update him on what's going on, and also to hide what's actually happening, because as soon as Jack Harkness learns that there's a Cyberman in Wetwang, he's just going to nuke the whole place. So obviously Ianto's going to hide that from him. But I think that what this story does is that it frames Ianto's love for Jack as a love for life itself, and maybe a bit of jealousy for Jack's immortality, or maybe not necessarily his love of life, but maybe he just appreciates the lack of death that comes with Jack Harkness, because, you know, by proxy, Ianto has lost his mum, his dad, his friends at Torchwood 1. Of course, this is taking place after the death of Tosh and Owen, and also his friends from Torchwood 1, Susie, Lisa. Like, there's a massive list of dead people in Ianto's wake, and after everything that he's been through over the past 100 Torchwood monthly audio adventures and over the past 2 seasons of television, and he's back at square one with another bloody Cyberman in the basement, it kind of breaks him a little bit. But what really carries him forward is this friendship with Tommy. These two unlikely people who should in any other life just have never met each other, but in a weird morbid way Torchwood has brought them together, even though it will ultimately be both of their ends, whether they like it or not, because that's the nature of the Torchwood beast. There's some really great Cyberman body horror, some really striking moments of violence here as well. Like, you know, this isn't just two people talking in a basement for 60 minutes, I promise. There's also a really lovely cameo appearance towards the end, which sort of reframes Ianto's outlook on everything that's going on. It's a really unassuming scene, but I just thought it was pitched really, really perfectly from another character who has also benefited massively from the Torchwood Big Finish releases. Gareth David Lloyd and Timothy Bentinck have wonderful chemistry with each other. It's a really lovely character piece, and also just a great meta commentary on Torchwood and the broader Doctor Who universe. Well, I don't think that latter one, I don't think that's intentional, it's just a matter of the timing, but it is what it is. I think that Farewell is a really affectionately penned story. Joseph Lidster has done a really wonderful job. He does clearly love this universe and all of its dark and depraved corners, from the Torchwood hub in Cardiff all the way to Wetwang. Joseph Lidster loves it all. And I think even if it wasn't carrying the moniker of being the final monthly range story, I still think it would be a really strong standalone adventure regardless. So either way, this is still the end of Ianto's story, because this takes place immediately before the events of Children of Earth, and that story doesn't end well for him. But it does take some additional steps to make that heart-wrenching death from all those years ago still continue to hit hard and find new layers underneath it all these years later. So while Farewell is the end of the Torchwood monthly range from Big Finish, we do have some more adventures coming out in the near future. We do have some box sets called Torchwood Legacy. We've got Volume 1, The Living Will Fall, and Volume 2, The Dead Shall Rise, which are going to be a bunch of stories from across the entire history of Torchwood, with a who's who of writers and cast members tying all of these plot threads together that have been built up over several years. These will be released in the autumn of 2027, so we still have a bit of a while to wait for those, but it's nice to know that this is not the end for Torchwood as it stands for Big Finish. I wonder if they'll continue to have a brand new range of stories. I'm personally rooting for a Torchwood series set in Victorian London, you know, following up from things like Rictus. But time will tell, it always does. Thank you so much for watching my review of Torchwood Farewell. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you have been listening to the Torchwood monthly range either from the beginning or you've somehow gone back and listened to all 100 of the monthly range, I want to know if you've got a favourite. I want to know if there's one story you really would like to recommend to other people. Let me know in the comment section below. For me, I joined the Torchwood monthly range really late when it came to doing my Big Finish reviews. So the ones that I would recommend are ones pretty late in the range that I've listened to. The Last Love Song of Susie Costello, Pop It, and Reflect. Once again, Joseph Lidster does an incredible job fleshing out the Torchwood universe. Those are the three stories where I'd say just dive straight into them if you know anything about the Torchwood universe. But like I said, let me know your favourites in the comment section. Like and subscribe for more Doctor Who Big Finish reviews and Torchwood Big Finish reviews when they inevitably come back. And folks, I'll see you all next time.